Welcome back, Steve Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and of course, we have a lot for you today. Of course, don't forget the UEFA Champions League makes a return, and a lot about the African Cup of Nations. But joining me this morning to take a look at some interesting issues is Emmanuel Mike. Mike, good morning to you, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me this morning. Glad to be here. The youth type period is here, and of course, a whole lot of sporting activities, accompanies with it. So, here this morning to do justice to some of these important stories.
All right, let's start the show this morning with tennis. As the 2025 edition of the Koi Club Annual Masters Tennis Tournament is now in full swing, with all the participants competing for the title. The annual year-ending event of the Elite Club Tennis section involves the best 8 male and female smashers in the year under review. And so, the tennis courts of Ikoyi Club 1938 has been busy for the tournament, which started on December 5th and will run till 13th. Chairman of the tennis section, Diran Famakinwa, showered praises on the sponsors for the partnership with the section, which has made this event possible. Talking about the championship, Mike, we understand that 4 million naira prize money, is at stake for this particular one. What is the benefits to say of this tournament, to table tennis down here in Nigeria?
First off, I think this is a club that holds a very great memory, especially for some of the elites who has played the game at the highest level, and time for them to retire. They come back to a place that had made them, because they actually started from that very place. And then also they have also expanded it beyond just for the ex-players, but also using it as a means to, of course, to raise other younger talent as well. And they accompany this with some rich amount of money. All right, you could also note that this is not state sponsored. This is more like an elite coming together to create this lovely idea. And this club has churn out some, great talent over the course of the year. So I think for me, basically, when the year comes to an end like this, although they do this once or twice every year, but then this year's ending is always a special moment where, most of the founding fathers, come together, of course, to raise the awareness and, of course, help younger athletes, or talent rather, who want to venture in the angle of table tennis to, of course, take advantage of that. And it comes with a lot of money, 4 million naira, for this. I think it's huge. So for me, I think we must also commend the organizers, because this is not the first time, this is not the second time. It is a consistent something, and the year end, it always, comes with a whole lot of excitement. So I think this is what the Ikoyi Club represents, and they've been there over the years. Like I said, they've churned out many talent, and it's a period where people come to share celebration of life, a celebration of great achievement, celebration of the end of the year, and of course they're looking forward to the new year. And then also mixing it up with the long-term vision of helping those that has special interest in terms of developing tennis as their professional sporting career, to also seize the opportunity.
All right, we understand that the winner, of course, will go home with 300,000, and this year, last year, of course, the winner went home with 300,000, and this year it has been increased to 500,000 naira. Now, all the 16 players are expected to go home with something after the event on December 13th. So, let's see how this one, of course, will pan out, but really been an impressive one. But away from that, let's bring you some other interesting issues coming from athletics. Kwara State Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrasak gifted parents of 2025 National Youth Games medalists cash award to support the education of their children, and words for winning laurels for the states. at the championship. Represented by the executive chairman of the Kwara State Sports Commission, Coach Bo La Kale Adisa, the governor commended the state athletes for improved performance at the last National Youth Games, urging them to continue to make the states proud. Mike, what do you make of the gesture from the Kwara State governor?
A good one, good one. Though coming late, but you know, better late than never. Because if you had kept their hope waiting for how many years since the National Sports Festival came to an end, it's been months and months. And these kids, you know, they are going to school, and the parents of this kid, the guardians, you know, had high hope that immediately after that, you know, National Sport Festival, where promises were made by different states on how to reward their athlete, you know, hope were high that immediately they are back home. The parents are going to receive some of those little cash to, of course, complement their effort in terms of their own financial input to the educational pursuits of such kids. But then, many months down the line, 6 months, 5 months, and it is coming this time around. That is why I say that it is better late than never. A promise is a promise. It has been made, and I just think that the parents will use this money for the purpose to which the governor has said. Because sometimes, if you take a look at the hardship in the country, the economic nosedive, parents might even want to, you know, channel that money into the immediate need of how to provide 2 square meals other than paying school fees for the kids. So I think a good one for the governor, but then like I advise, parents and guardians should also make good use of this money for the purpose to which the governor has, you know, declared it for, which is to support their educational, you know, pursuit. But then you can't take away the fact that there is hunger in the land, Kingsley. There is hunger in the land, and this might just not, you know, be used for the purpose. But then for some parents who truly have been sacrificing a lot to ensure that their kids and wards get educated, they will definitely know the importance of education, and by making sure that they properly utilize this money for the educational purpose of these kids.
You know, amounts not stated, so we don't really know how much was given, you know, as it stands, but I'm concerned about, you know, their career, you know, at this point in time. Money was just being given for their education. What about their career? How will they continue to strengthen themselves and, of course, to improve, looking at the fact that some of these students, you know, might, of course, want to, of course, pursue, you know, a career in athletics, you know, at the end of the day? Because if you're, of course, looking forward for their education, and then you should also look at for how they can continue to improve, even while they go to school in their different, you know, field of specialization.
I think for me, it's a very big challenge which we've been talking about, the need for we to have a set-down template where young and aspiring athletes, sportsmen and women can, you know, be monitored, properly taken care of. We keep talking about Sena climb. Yeah, they are humans as well. They have the same brain like us, but then they think outside the box. They try to make the way better for this young and upcoming athlete. And that is why you see some of them even, you know, have a special place where they eat, they go to school, they come back, and they do their training. All right, but here, these kids have gone out and some of them won 1 or 2 medals and they came back home. The next thing is for them to focus on how to fight for survival, because the economy is hard. Everything is hard. You don't expect parents who are struggling to afford 3 square meals to start sending their kids to an academy where they are going to stay for maybe 3 months, 6 months, and once in a while they come back home. Not many parents have such luxury of money to spend, and that is where government comes in. How many of the state government will say, okay, they have a special sporting, you know, building where upcoming sportsmen and women can be hosted from the age of 10, from the age of 12, 14, 15, so that they can be properly monitored, so that they can be properly conditioned for the future. None. All right, the school sport, which should have been a very perfect template for these kids to climb upon and hone their talent. We are no longer paying special attention to school sport. If not, this kid, immediately they are back from the National Sport Festival. The next thing was to follow up their progress via the school sports activity. Ranging from the primary school down to secondary school. There should be a special committee set up to track the progress of this kid down from the secondary school down to the primary school before you can talk, before they could graduate from the secondary school. You already know that this person, they have special potential, and by then you can start sending them to a developed place where they can get to know some of these things, the basic things on this very sport. But here, we don't really pay such a... Now, you just ask a salient question. These kids are back at home. What is the next move for them? Most of them, probably, they have even forgotten the last National Sport Festival. Some of them might just be playing at home right now. They go to school, come back, go to the street and play with their other kids, forgetting the core, innate ability which is invested in them, which is sport. The only time that state government might just remember is maybe when the next edition comes. We'll begin to look out for the people that went for the last edition. Sometimes you don't even find them. Sometimes you see that there is always a change of the personality where people try to use the NIN, change the name, bring another person, all right? So the process is flawed. There is a systemic error within the sporting activities here, and this is what we need to address. If we want to get it right, go down to this, school sport activities and begin to, take proper stock, all right, on how we can be able to move the sporting activity for. Because if, for example, a state government set up a committee, and of course every state has their own sport commission, which the state government actually sponsors, because every state sport commission receives money from the state for sporting activity. So if states are very serious in trying to, of course, see how to move sport forward, every state sport commission must have their own scouting teams, and their responsibility to ensure that these young talent are properly monitored and followed up. And this is where we are going to get it right. But after the last National Sport Festival, who cares? Nobody cares again. We'll wait for the next edition. So I think it's a very big challenge.
Very huge challenge, at this point in time. And of course, we look forward to see if, the government will try most it can to see how to harness talent for this athlete. Not just, of course, sending them to school, but making them pursue, their career at this point in time. But away from that, I understand that Nigerian athletics has been drawn into the spotlight once again, as the Athletic Federation of Nigeria has launched an immediate investigation into troubling allegation of athletes presenting multiple birth dates at the 2025 African Under-18 and Under-20 Championship in Abeokuta. The Athletic Integrity Unit of World Athletics has demanded clarification after flagging a number of Nigerian athletes currently under scrutiny, prompting swift action from the Athletic Federation of Nigeria. In a hard-hitting statement released in Abuja, the Athletic Federation of Nigeria Secretary General Israel Nwang confirmed that Federation President Chief Tinubu Kokoa has ordered a full-scale probe, insisting that the integrity of Nigerian athletics is non-negotiable. Chief Okowa, known for his zero tolerance for age manipulation, announced that a special investigative committee will be unveiled today I beg your pardon, will be unveiled with a clear mandate to uncover the truth and hold any guilty athletes or coaches accountable at this point in time. So, Mike, issue of age cheating has been on the line for so many years now. What do you make of it? The Athletic Federation of Nigeria try and also kind of course, to, put an end, to this. Do you think this will be achievable?
I think first of this statement is stemming from the fact that the World Athletic Integrity Unit have, of course, flagged some names. The last African Under-17, Under-18 championship, that took place right here. There were several names which the World Athletic Integrity Unit has marked as people who their age were highly, questionable, and there is a whole lot of discrepancies within the, age limit, that the submission of this name does not tally, with the provisional official names and age which they presented. The World Athletic Integrity Unit, they have their own database. So long as there is anything that has to do with athletics that is recognized and waved on by the World Athletic Federation, you definitely know that the Athletic Integrity Unit must be taking their stock. So for example, if I am Emmanuel Michael, I competed last year for an age grade event of, let's say, 17 years. And I wrote Emmanuel Michael, age 17, in my CV. Immediately I drop it. So long as it is approved by the World Athletic Federation, just know that that age and the name which I imputed there has already been registered. But sometimes we want to play smart, not knowing that technology has come to stay. You want to stay smart. If I'm Emmanuel Michael, I submitted last year, that's my name, age 17. Now this year, just because I felt that the next age grade, I'll be over 18. I'll now try to reduce my age backward. Instead of Emmanuel Michael, I'll probably write Emmanuel Samuel, age 16. Whereas last year, I wrote 17, and it has already been registered in their system. So they had to compare and contrast, and they saw that there was a whole lot of discrepancies. And this is why they had to, call the Nigerian Athletic Federation to give reason, to give account of why there should be such discrepancies. 16 or 17 of them. All right? So I think if the World Athletic Integrity Unit does not raise this alarm, I can attest to you that everything would have died down, and we'll assume that the people that went for the Under-18 and Under-17 championship were all within the age bracket. And this is how unserious we are, that we take outsiders to tell us our own errors. It's a big challenge. The age cheat is something that many times we've tried to see how to curb it, but then it's still rearing its ugly head. Even when the introduction of the NIN, that is the National Identification Number, and all of that, there was still some, age fraud, age cheat, and it is not going down well. So I think the Nigerian Athletic Federation, they're in big problem, because if this is allowed to die down, then the hammer of the World Athletic Integrity Unit will fall on us. The reason why Russia is not part of any activity right now when you talk about athletics is because of their state-sponsored doping. What it means by state-sponsored doping is not that every state will call their athletes and begin to give them a banned substance. No. But because of this kind of activity, that you know that something is wrong somewhere, and as is a nation's athletic federation, you are aware of this, but you are keeping quiet, allowing everything to be normal. That is state-sponsored doping. it is what it is. And if this thing is not tackled down from its root, then I can assure you in the next 2 years or 1 year, Nigeria will be in a big problem, because you can't have 17 or 18 athletes falsifying their age. You know, their document does not tally with the previous one that they submitted, which has already been registered in the central data collection of the World Athletic Unit, Integrity Unit. So it's a big challenge, and we need to tackle it. If the Athletic Integrity Unit did not come up with this, all of us were thinking that everything were normal.
Yeah.
Of course, the championship has come and gone, and we marked it to be successful, not knowing that the World Athletic Integrity Unit, they are doing their job. This is where you know that despite all the maneuvering, despite all the intrigues, despite all the cheat attempts, there is the eagle eyes of the World Athletic Integrity Unit. And don't forget that Nigeria has been under the radar of the World Athletic Integrity Unit a few years ago, about 2 years ago. In fact, we're in danger zone as it stands because of the past track record of some of our athletes who tested positive for banned substance. Some of them were banned. And at a point where we were even trying to manage it, now this one is resurfacing again. And I think it's a big problem. The National Sport Commission, they have also waited to demand and call the Nigerian Athletic Federation to, of course, make a thorough investigation. We just hope that, you know, this one will see the light of the day, so that at least Nigeria will be free from the eagle eyes of the World Athletic Integrity Unit.
All right, let's see how it goes. We'll, of course, look forward to see how this one, of course, will be resolved, because this might cost a whole lot, you know, for Nigerian athletics if this is not properly curbed. But at the end, let's stay away from that, as the president of the Handball Federation of Nigeria, Mr. Jibri Saudi Oji, has expressed deep sympathy to the players, coaches and management of Benue Buffaloes who were kidnapped on their way back from Lagos after participating in the Handball Premier League 2025 Phase 2, which concluded last week, Friday. The team which finished ninth in the just concluded league was adopted by armed men while traveling back just after Otukpo, Benue State, but were later rescued through the swift intervention of troops of the Nigerian Army. In a statement issued this week, Mr. Jibri condemned the traumatic experience, describing it as a sad and heartbreaking ordeal that no athletes, coach or official should ever be subjected to, while also thanking the Nigerian Army for their quick response. And the Handball Federation of Nigeria president also sympathized with the Benue State Sports Ministry, acknowledging the emotional and psychological toll the incident has taken on the state sports community. He reaffirmed the Confederation's support for Benue Buffaloes as they recover from the incident down there. This is not a good one, Mike. The insecurity in the country also affecting sports.
Definitely not a good one at all. And we just, you know, also sympathize with the Benue Buffaloes, because after the Andover Handball Championship, which they, you know, participated, going back to their respective, states, they were, you know, abducted by gunmen, kidnappers, and I think it highlights the level of the insecurity that is currently happening right here in the country. But we thank God that they are safe, that the army came to their rescue. If not, by now, maybe we would have been hearing a very different story entirely. Not a good one at all, that the level of insecurity is escalating to the extent of it affecting sports in the country. And I just hope that Mr. President, who has been doing a lot in terms of trying to crack down some of these, men of the underworld, these perpetrators of this heinous crime, will continue to do his best to see how we can be able to bring this situation to normalcy. Because if sport is being affected by insecurity, then the future of the country is in doubt because sports is the highest employer of labor.
All right, let's bring you latest coming from chess this morning as Team Nigeria has arrived in Harare, Zimbabwe, ahead of the 2025 African Youth Chess Championship, where the country would compete for continental honors. And of course, according to newsmen, Nigeria will be represented by a strong lineup of young talent, including Deborah Quickpen, Chiamaka Nwankwo, Zita Ogunsino, Jackson Nwankwo, Olakinta Alegbede, and Adola Alegbede down there. The players will compete across the under 10 and under 18 categories. And the championship is scheduled to run from December 6 to 14 has attracted top young chess players from across Africa. Nigeria's contingent departed Lagos over the weekend and will face stiff competition from other participating nations, including Egypt, Libya, Algeria, and Ghana. The tournament to serve as a key platform for identifying and developing continent future chess stars. And I believe by this time, of course, they should have been in one or two, actions. What do you make of their participation this time? You think they can, of course, put up another impressive performance so far? I think so far this year, chess has been an impressive one. We've seen, has putting up some high level of performance. Can we also see that once again this time?
I think for me, I'm looking beyond just we going out there to win the tournament, of course. But I'm looking at the fact that if you take a look at, the key players, talking about, the young lad, you see how young they are. So I'm looking at a bigger picture of them going out there to gain experience, gain that needed exposure, continue to develop in the game, and see what comes up in the next 3 or even 4 years. Because the basic thing here is for these kids to know the rudiments of this game at early stage. Is for them to get the exposure at this early stage. Because if you are being exposed to the bigger picture of what lies ahead, then they get used to it, they get used to all these things, and it becomes very easy when they turn 20. By then they have been able to pass through the ranks and the nuances of what it takes to be a chess player, and by then they might have gathered more experience and gain more exposure, and that is where we begin to reap the benefit of the investment now. So for me, I'm not particularly looking at them just going out there to make a point by going to win, and if they don't win, we say that they have failed. No, I think it's a bigger picture of these are young ones, and then they need this exposure. So this is the angle I'm looking at it. So if they go out there and didn't really come back with something big, I won't be disappointed, because these are young kids, and so you expect them to have that first time experience where sometimes fear, because kids still, you can see they are being accompanied by, some of the...
But Quickpen is actually no name in Nigerian chess.
Definitely. I'm not saying that it's not a known name, but then I'm saying that she's not the only one that is going to carry the burden of the country. There are several categories that the others need to also, so if you are holding brief for her, what about others? There are so many of them that went for this competition. So I'm taking a look at the holistic angle of the team. How many of them went for this tournament? Of course, we might have 2 or 3 exceptional, players that are genius in their own word. But then, what about the team display? It's about the team, a collective, interest, and not about a particular individual. So, and that is why I said I'm looking at the bigger picture of allowing this young one to go there, gain the experience, gain the exposure, and then we'll bring it back and continue to nurture them and prep them up for the bigger picture.
All right, we wish them the very best in this one. But let's talk Formula One. As London Norris says, he is looking forward to switching off and forgetting all about the year in which he achieved his lifetime ambition of winning the Formula One World Championship. The McLaren driver spent Sunday nights into Monday morning celebrating in Abu Dhabi before digesting, of course, his triumph down there. Mike is doing celebration upon celebration for London Norris after winning the Drivers' Championship for the very first time for his career. Will this joy ever end for London Norris?
Yeah, definitely it will, because you don't have to, engulf yourself with that joy forever. The season has come to an end. Of course, you've been crowned champion, great one, but then you need to also, look forward to the next, Formula One. But for now, I think it is time for him to enjoy the moment while it lasts. It doesn't come easy. This is the first time you winning your first major championship after so many years and becoming the 11th British driver to do so. And even, helping the team, talking about the McLaren team, to win the Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Championship at a blow. And the last time they did so was in 1998. It doesn't come easy, so he has all of the time for now to enjoy, to celebrate, but then he should also start, thinking of next season, so that the celebration doesn't take, much of the thing that he needs to think about, because he still have, a great future ahead. Don't forget, he's still very much young, so there's still much celebration to come. So you don't allow this particular one to overwhelm you, and you forget to do the needful, because there is still a lot to, achieve in the world of Formula One for London Norris. But even he himself, he's taking cognizance of that. That is why he said that very soon this celebration, it will be over, and then you concentrate. So I think professional to the core, this is the way you should be thinking.
Is he here to stay? You think this is the start of dominance for London Norris and McLaren?
It's a big question. This question often pops up whenever a new driver wins a driver's championship, because there's a whole lot of pressure in you maintaining consistency. Don't forget, when Max Verstappen dethroned Lewis Hamilton in 2020, the same question was posed to him by so many. Are you here to stay? Can you make it? And don't forget, then Lewis Hamilton was, one of the best driver at that point. He has won so many championships, and this fear factor was there because of his consistency. Some were asking, is he here to stay? Can he repeat this next time? Can he maintain this consistency? A lot of questions. But then we saw Max Verstappen since that 2020. He dominated until this very one that he was dethroned. So I think for me, it is only time that we tell. But I can assure you that from what we saw in this year's Formula One season, it's going to be very difficult, because despite the troubles despite the distraction that Max Verstappen had even before the season, yet he did not really get deterred. He was still churning out positive results. Even during the course of the season, or the early hours of the season, you saw that the father of Max Verstappen, had so many challenges, with the constructors, with the Red Bull constructors, even when he had to threaten that if things does not go down well, if they don't settle amicably, he's going to force his son to leave Red Bull. This was happening at the midst of the season. But yet, that did not deter Max Verstappen. He continued.
And you think that didn't bring a little bit of distraction to the man?
No, I don't think. It's just that the only challenge why I think Red Bull failed to clinch this one is because Max Verstappen was more like a solo driver, though they had other driver. Was it Lawson? Well, Lawson never finished within the podium, so he was just the only one fighting for the whole thing. But for the McLaren team, there are two, Oscar Piastri and of course London Norris, very active. At some point, people even wrote off Max Verstappen, but you saw how he came back very strong, especially in the last 7 races, and he began to win. And it was just 2 points that separated him and the eventual champion, and that is to tell you how dedicated. And that is why I say that London Norris must buckle up his shoes. He must get ready for the big challenge that lies ahead, because even his own teammate, Oscar Piastri, that started the season very well. It was, dethroned. It was the same London Norris that overtook him at the second half of the season. So there will be a lot of challenge coming in from the Red Bull come next season, and this is why I think London Norris need to start thinking about that. It is not yet an Uhuru, though he's enjoying the moment, which it truly deserves, because he did pretty well. He did not start the season very well, but then finished excellently.
All right, at this point, we'll take a break. When we return from the break, we'll bring you other exciting, of course, stories, especially in football. Stay with us, we'll be right back.